Hey everyone, we have Alex Spino on today, agent from Keller Williams, and she is also a house hacker. So we are talking to her about the different things she's doing in her job and what she's done successfully in house hacking in her about a year of house hacking now. Welcome aboard, Alex.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so could you go over who you are and some of the things that you've done in your real estate journey?
Yeah, so I am an agent, so I help people buy and sell in Northeast Ohio. I'm with Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan. I'm actually also part of our agent leadership council who helps mentor and just create culture and community in our brokerage. I co-lead our investor mastermind group within our brokerage as well. Our office has about 430 agents. A lot of them invest themselves. I help a lot of local and out-of-state investors, friends and family invest. And it's kind of what led me into getting into the investing and getting my property and house hacking right now.
Awesome. So, touch on a few things that you just were presented with. It sounds like you are leading a team now in a mastermind.
So I was recently asked to co-lead this mastermind, this community group within our office because a lot of our agents represent a lot of investors or they invest themselves. And I'm, new to it, but the person I'm co-chairing this with has done over 100 flips. And so it was very exciting that she thought of me to join along with her.
Yeah, that speaks volume with someone that much experience is seeing something in you that they're not seeing in somebody else. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's get into your house hack. You purchased property here around the Cleveland area last year, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So I was very specific on the location. The location mattered to me more than even the house itself. So when the house came up in the neighborhood, one of the, top neighborhoods I was looking to invest in, had to act on it. It was a kind of a quiet time in the market at the beginning of the year. And closed on that. I knew I wanted at least one unit to be pretty much move-in ready so I could get the tenant in there. So I got my tenant in relatively quickly, had to go through the whole interview process, met lots of different, prospects looking to rent. And then I did a full-on renovation to the upstairs unit. He took the wall down between the kitchen and the dining room, did a lot of work on the floors, had to refinish all the hardwood, kitchen, wiring, all that. And then finally I was able to move in and I knew I was planning on, only staying there about a year and then going to turn my unit into a furnished rental, more of like a long-term furnished rental, maybe for traveling nurses, people that are coming into the area for schooling or even at the hospitals. So I'm currently in the market for my next one.
Awesome. So, are you leaving all the furniture that you have in there, or are you changing out furniture for when you move into the strategy?
I'm planning on leaving everything, majority of it. I
Yeah.
may take maybe like a few pieces, but for the most part, just leave everything and start over.
Awesome. Did you do all the work yourself, or did you have some help?
I did a little bit of work. Had contractors, had professionals come in and handle like the bulk of everything. I wasn't going to even attempt that. My father and I did the floors together, and that was an experience. If anyone's ever sanded floors down, it
Yeah.
is a gritty, literally a very gritty job.
Yeah, that is not fun at all. I've been there. Um, so when you got this going, it sounds like you moved a tenant to the downstairs unit right off the bat to get some cash flow going in this property, right? Make some money off of it. How was renovating the upstairs unit while you had a tenant living downstairs, and how did they handle that?
That's a good question. So actually, I didn't get the tenant in as quickly as I wanted to
Okay.
because most tenants they are looking a little further out.
Yeah.
They're usually like in a lease and they're looking the next couple of months out. So for example, I closed on the property in March. My tenant didn't move in until the end of May.
Okay.
So a big chunk of the renovation as far as the demo work and the stuff that was going to be more of a disturbance was done, thankfully. It was a lot of more finishing work that needed to be done. And anyone that came by, I had to explain to them, yeah, there is a renovation going to be going down. Or even when I was showing it, the laundry, because I actually moved all the laundry up from the basement. So my tenants have in-suite laundry. So at the time of me even showing the property, you know, end of March, April, the laundry wasn't even completed. So I think that was, you know, kind of hard for people to even look past and see the vision.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
definitely. So this is an older house in the area you're at, right?
yeah, it's a century home, one of
Yep.
the century home, you know, duplexes, older homes.
So when you were looking for this property, were there some key things that you were looking for since you were looking at an older house that you wanted to make sure you avoided?
Yeah, there was, and there were certain features that I knew I wanted. I knew I wanted, for example, because I knew it was going to be a rental, and I knew as far as the rental market and what tenants would appreciate and what I wanted to be able to offer to my tenants. So, for example, central air was something that was going to be important. I wanted to offer them a garage space, in-suite laundry, so I had to modify that. I wanted the kitchens, you know, relatively updated, has stainless steel appliances, has granite countertops. I wanted to be able to offer those type of amenities for my tenants. And yeah, making sure the roof was good, the foundation, especially with these older houses, also keeping expectations in line, understanding, you know, this is, you know, a century home, that this isn't a new build. This isn't even a 30-year-old home, and there's movement, they're settling, they're, you know, they're a little different.
Yeah. So you did mention that you moved laundry from the basement to the first floor. Is that correct?
Yeah, each
So
floor. Yep.
yes. So do the tenants have any access to the basement, or is that completely closed off?
No, they have access. They don't use it though. There's
Okay.
no laundry or anything down there. Storage. I mainly just use it. They don't ever. I don't think they've ever gone down there, to be honest.
Gotcha. So that's also just one less thing you have to worry about, having laundry down there, having tenants down there in those older basements. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, moving it to the
it's a
first
little
floor was, I think, a
tricky.
good move.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. I had the tenant in mind when I was doing it, because it's like if when I was a renter or a tenant, what I would have appreciated someone, you know, offering to me.
Yeah. And you just pointed out a great mindset. You put yourself in the position of, or the mind of what the tenant was looking for. When you were a tenant, what you would have wanted, because that is your customer base now.
Yeah,
So appealing to them is huge instead of just doing the bare minimum of a rental and just leaving things how they were. So
yeah.
yeah. Um, what are some of the little things that you didn't know before starting the house hack that you've learned throughout this process?
You know, you are living in the same home together.
Yeah.
You know, we have a great relationship. It's a very landlord-tenant relationship. We don't hang out or anything, but I recently was asking them, so I'm getting ready to renew their lease. And they asked specifically if I was going to be staying. And because they knew my plan long term, even when they
Yeah.
were touring. And I jokingly, I said, "Why do you not want me there?" And they said, "No, we love having you as our neighbor." And I was, you know, I'm upstairs, so I'm like conscious if I'm walking too loud, am I talking too loud? So I personally have never lived in a multifamily before. So that's unique, being the owner, but also being mindful for the tenants. That was like something kind of interesting to take on. But it's been a great, knock on wood, it's been a very great experience. I have wonderful tenants, and I would love for them to stay as long as possible.
Awesome. So let's touch on your tenants. What did you do in the vetting process to make sure you did get great tenants?
So everyone that came through was all great. I think a lot of it came down to timing, because some people were looking 3 months out or 2 months out. And at that point I was becoming, you know, I really wanted to get the house filled, but I still also did not want to become desperate. So yes, the vetting, you know, I collected, you know, a security deposit is a full month's rent. I did a credit check. I did a background check. I made sure their income, usually I was trying to be like 3 times the monthly rent.
Yeah.
So yeah, like make sure they didn't have any evictions. Those were like big things, you know, their credit was, and they're phenomenal. And they were actually looking to downsize. They were living somewhere paying more, and they actually are saving money to, where they're at now with me.
Awesome. So did they renew the lease or did they?
Yeah, they said I have to prep it still.
Okay.
Yes, they said yes, they want to stay, and they were more concerned of if I was staying.
Yeah.
And I
So
told them, I haven't found anything yet.
gotcha. But they are aware that eventually you are moving out and you're going to do something else with the property. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, cool. I know you don't have a property under contract now, but how soon are you looking to move, or what is your next goal? Are you trying to house hack again, single family? What is it?
Yeah, so I've missed out on 4 properties so far, 1 multifamily and 3 single families. I was gonna take a little bit of a break, but I still get I still have myself on a portal to receive alerts as a buyer. So when stuff comes up, it's definitely, it's intriguing.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would love to get another multifamily. It's just, inventory is very low, especially in some of the areas I'm looking for. So I thought about even pivoting to a single family and doing the same thing, staying there for a year, even have maybe I have a friend that's even interested that wants to move in, so maybe even do that and move out, turn that into a full-time rental and go get the next property. Because I want to buy another house, at least a house a year. So even though the way the market is right now and the lack of inventory, I don't want that to be a reason why I don't purchase anything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, keeping keeping on the pulse and keeping looking at the market, you're seeing it every day, and that's what's more important, even when you're not buying right now, just knowing where the market's at.
Yes.
You're gonna find that property that somebody else is overlooking because it might be listed improperly. Like the listing just might not present
Mhm.
itself properly. Or there might be something that you can handle that somebody else isn't willing to handle. So yeah.
Yeah. Or anything off market as well, advertising in my neighborhood, talking to people, word of mouth, and even like our investor mastermind group. That's kind of something that we want to cultivate too, is discussing properties that we each have or what our clients have that are going to be coming to market. If I
Yeah.
can land anything off market, that's would be, ideal. But yeah, I look for homes that have been sitting. I'm not afraid of that. I want something that has been sitting for a little bit and has some room to negotiate.
Yeah, definitely. You need to get equity in a deal. You want to come into a good deal and maybe have to do a little sweat equity, right? To get it to where it
Mhm.
needs to be.
Yeah, I would love to like do something very similar to have, like, I don't mind another project, increase the value, do what I need to. Yeah, put my touch on it.
Awesome. So you've been an agent for how long now? I don't know if we've covered that earlier.
4 years, next month will be 4 years.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. And what were you doing before you were an agent?
I was in commercial insurance. I worked for a large private carrier. They have a large presence here. They're headquartered in New York City. And I was there for 10 years and was just ready to make a change. And really, real estate has always been like a passion of mine. And the fact to be able to work for myself was a big driver of that.
Okay, so was your role in this insurance agency were you in sales or what were you doing?
Yes, so I did various roles in that 10 years, but like sales, account management. So I used to travel for work. So yeah, I've always been in sales. I've had that background. It's just like it's a different product now.
Right. So you're just you're selling a different product. So
Yeah.
I would assume that a lot of your previous experience transferred over into being a real estate agent, right?
Yeah, and I think when you're working, I was in corporate America, so I was very, I'm used to a structure, I'm used to a schedule, I'm very familiar with like cultivating and, business development. So yes, I could pivot and just say it's just a different product. That's all.
Oh, so let's touch on something that you just what you just said. You're used to the structure and the schedule and everything. How was transferring from that corporate America into being self-employed? How was keeping your schedule and your structure? How did that work out for you?
Yeah, it's a balancing act for sure. And I think a lot of people, they go into it and it's exciting because there's a lot of flexibility and there's a lot of freedom. And they say those are the things that kind of get people in trouble. So
Yeah.
me, you can see in the background a little bit, I'm in the office. I come to the office every day, even though I could work from home. I like to be able to get out and, and I like the idea of being around other people and bouncing ideas, sharing things. Yeah, just puts you in that environment. So even though I'm not required to be anywhere at a certain time, I'm not required to sit on any trainings. I'm not required to sell anything even. But just being around it, I think, just showing up and being around real estate and being around people selling real estate, that helps motivate you and that already puts you in the position to, work for it.
Yeah. So your biggest thing, I guess, it sounds like going into the office kind of still gives you that feel of like a schedule or like maybe a corporate type job where you can kind of get lazy if you're sitting at home, wake up late, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like their household chores, it's very easy to get distracted. I have a dog, and she is relentless. So yeah, but it's nice I have that freedom though that I can come and go if I need to leave early or come in later or I have an appointment. It's nice to have that freedom still, but it also requires a lot of discipline
Yes.
and self-motivation to say, like, yeah, no one's calling to check up on you. No one's
Yeah.
saying, are you in today? Did you complete this? Did you make your calls? Did you get any sales? Do you have anything under contract? That's really on you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that I think that's the toughest thing for a lot of people moving into entrepreneurship and working
Yeah.
for themselves is that exact thing, is the discipline. And like you said before, time freedom, it's great. We can do whatever we want, but now you find out what you're worth, right? Like
Yeah.
there's nobody giving you a paycheck. You're making your paycheck.
Yes, exactly. But
So,
when you write that check, it's coming from your business, your LLC, and yeah, you have to, if I'm not working, I'm not producing, and everything's on that.
okay. So how about this one? And we're both in the same boat. We both have we're both self-employed now. We're not relying on a paycheck. I know for me, it was sure a lot easier to save up and buy a house when you had, your paycheck as well as other income coming in. What are some things you're doing to save up for that next house? Going back to like discipline and how you're working that out with being self-employed.
I think that's where budgeting really comes in.
Yeah,
And yeah, it is. And you probably know it as well that when you're a W-2 employee, it's also very easy to get a mortgage.
yeah.
And when you are self-employed, they will go through everything with a very fine tooth comb. And when I went through it, it was, yeah, it's intense. It can be a little intrusive. So yeah, budgeting is huge. I also, as you should, I have like everything separated. So I have business accounts. So anything related to my business, any marketing or office fees or photography for upcoming listings, any marketing, I have that all for my business account. And then personally, yes, that all has to be budgeted. And I, pay myself out of my business account roughly, usually at the beginning of the month. And that amount's already set because I allow that money to stack up that I've accumulated and received. So I let that be. And then and I also allocate, I follow like the profit first system.
Great. Yes. Yeah.
So, so
So
I run
yeah,
my business.
tell people a little bit of slightly what profit first is, because a lot of people don't know what profit first is.
So it's the envelope system. So when money comes in, it's automatically allocated. So I put a thing, being self-employed, people get in trouble with is taxes.
Yes.
So automatically I have percentages. So as soon as everything, all the money comes in, a percentage of it's going to tax, an account that's going to stay there. I have operating expense. So things that my daily to run my business. I have a profit account and I have an owner's account. So I pay so just because whatever the check is, I'm not personally taking home.
Right.
Like I know to take taxes out of that most importantly. And I have money put away that has to run the business because you shouldn't be paying your business operations through your personal accounts. And it's easier said than done. And I've made those mistakes before. But yeah, this system, it assures me that everything's where it needs to be.
That's good. Yeah. I say a lot of small business owners get in trouble with that. And it's not a problem until, well, one, they're not paying one of their bills or they're doing something illegal. And now you have, you're not treating your business as a business. So that could also open doors to lawsuits and coming after your personal resident or your personal assets.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah. Wow. So this was really great, Alex. I'm really happy that you came on. Is there any closing thoughts that you would want to tell the first time home buyer that's looking to house hack?
yeah, I always encourage when I like meet with my friends or clients that are thinking about buying for the first time, I always explore that idea. You know, it's definitely a sacrifice and but it's not the end all be all. You only, even if you only did one and you did it for a year, it's, you have to stay focused on the big why and your motivation to do that. Because that passive income and it's, you know, you're not gonna, you're reaping the benefits today, but they're mainly longer term and they're compounded. So yes, if anyone ever wants to talk to that about that or pick my brain on it, I think um, it's such a thing that it's underutilized.
I agree. So, where can my followers get a hold of you if they are looking to touch base with you?
You can follow me on my Instagram. You could email me. You can call me. My Instagram is realtor underscore Alex Spino.
Okay.
All my information's on there. I'd say don't ever hesitate to reach out just to pick my brain even on the house hacking. I've had people, my friends who ask like, so what did you put into your house? How much should I save? You know, like what should I be budgeting for any like projects that may come up? And yeah, I'm very open with mine. I just went through it so I can provide real numbers. And even through our mastermind group, that's kind of like what we're doing for our agents and people that are learning that say, hey, they want like raw data on this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll put all of your information in the description of this video so people have an easy access to finding you.
Okay.
All right, last question. Out of any podcast or YouTube channel that you follow or watch, what is your favorite? It doesn't have to be real estate specific. What do you like to follow the most?
That's funny. Yeah, I love real estate's a passion of mine, but I love health stuff as well.
Okay.
Anything like health related, nothing specific. I'm always just like on that space of like different ones and like hearing different perspectives on food and health. I'm a runner like yourself,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
training for
You
my
have a half marathon coming up, right?
my first one.
Yeah.
So so in my, you know, my different goals personally, professionally, my running is one on that's a new thing. I'm not a runner. All right, I wasn't before, now I am, and I've embraced that. So anything like that in the house space, I would say. I don't have any specific one, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Um, well, thanks for coming on, Alex. This was great, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.